Well, joining me now is Federico Dessi, is Regional Director for the Middle East for Handicap International. Thanks for being with us on the programme today. How desperate do you think the situation is, particularly at the Al-Shifa hospital?
The situation is really catastrophic today in Gaza. We have more than 1.5 million people have been displaced, around 10,000 people killed, and tens of thousands of people injured. Of course, the situation in a Shifa hospital and other hospitals is critical. More than 20 hospitals have been forced to close, and people don't know where to find medical care anymore.
Can you imagine what it must be like trying to operate in those conditions in the hospital?
Yes, of course, it's terrible. And, we have around 100 staff and volunteers operating in Gaza at the moment, unfortunately only in southern Gaza, because the situation in northern Gaza is too risky and too dangerous, and there is no humanitarian access for NGOs like us. There are airstrikes every day. People are unsafe and are risking their lives going out to provide assistance to the displaced people and the wounded. There is no electricity, fuel has run out, lack of potable water. The situation is really catastrophic.
And for medical staff, is there anything that they can do if they don't have power to help people?
I think they're all trying their best. Our colleagues as well, they're supporting some wounded people, providing bandages. But of course, some people require functional equipment, electricity, drugs. And as we have seen in the reports, some people have died recently because of the lack of these items in the hospitals and the health centers. But we need a ceasefire to stop the killing and to ensure that all the patients are able to receive the health care they deserve.
You say you need a ceasefire. From Israel's point of view, they say, obviously, they're trying to take out Hamas. They say Hamas are effectively underneath the hospital.
I think all parties to the conflict need to respect international humanitarian law and the Geneva Conventions, both Israel and Hamas and the Palestinian armed groups. At this stage, in our opinion, the only way to prevent further death and injury is a ceasefire and unimpeded humanitarian access for humanitarian organizations like Humanitarian Inclusion and other organizations.
But if you have a ceasefire, doesn't that let Hamas off the hook?
Well, I think there are other ways that Israel can consider. It's not my role as a humanitarian actor to advise on political or military matters. But the Geneva Conventions are there, and they bound all parties, including Israel. And I think the people of Gaza have already suffered from collective punishment for the past 37 days. They deserve safety, they deserve humanitarian assistance, they deserve healthcare.
And let me ask you as well about the situation in southern Gaza. Obviously, it's not as bad as in the north, but still very, very difficult, presumably.
Indeed, there are airstrikes there as well, and people are killed every day and injured every day. There is a complete lack of shelter housing to host the 1.5 million people who have moved there in the past months. Electricity is scarce, potable water is scarce. We're hearing reports of infectious diseases spreading, thousands of respiratory infections, diarrhea cases. The trickle of humanitarian aid coming in from Egypt is too little to cope with the needs. And again, people are not safe, and they're crammed in collective shelters and in houses.
Good to talk to you on the programme. Thanks very much for joining us. Federico Dessi is Regional Director for the Middle East for Handicap International. Thanks.